Hi guys, so today I want to make a tutorial about prototyping, which will be focused as the first one on transitions between screens. Prototyping is quite I can say definitely a big section in Figma, or a big topic, if it's more right to say it like that. And I thought it would be right to divide for a few tutorials, meaning that I will have this tutorial on transitions between screens, and I will have another tutorial transitions, or more right to say interacting with overlays, which will include, of course, transitions as well. So overlays, and then we're going to have the last one, I guess, in this series, on interactive components, which is actually prototyping interacting between variants of a component. Okay, so let's start and go ahead with this tutorial, which I will talk about transitions between screens. Okay, great. So here we have kind of I did a very kind of simple general website page, which I used, I think, in another tutorial, which is about the fixed position element. So yeah, I kind of did it there, and I thought, why not? I can use it here as well. That's okay. So I have here two pages of let's say the same website. Very basic design. I have a header. I have kind of like a, as I don't know, as called a hero image, and I have another three images here and so on. Just a regular web page, and then I want to let's say click on this image, and this whole item can be clickable. By the way, the image, the title, and the text, and can lead me to this page, which I can see something else. I didn't focus on the text that will be here. It doesn't really matter right now. It's just to show the prototype or the transition between the screens. And if in general talking about prototyping and transitions between screen, to the guys who are a bit new to this, then the whole idea is that I can click on something here and be transitioned into this page. Okay, so let's see how we do it on a very basic meaning of it. So let's say that, by the way, we can create transitions on screens from any element to another frame. The interaction is not between an element, for example, this one, to an element, let's say this one. Okay? We are not interacting between elements, we are interacting between an element to another whole frame, to another whole screen. Okay, I'm just explaining again. If you're kind of new to this and you don't understand exactly how it works, so that's how it works. Again, let's say I choose this element to interact with this screen, so it interacts with this screen and not to another element on this screen. Okay, now I can interact from a screen to another screen, or from an element, any of them. It doesn't really matter which one. It can be just, for example, this text or this image or this title. I can choose very kind of like a specific which element I want to create the interaction, and it can be a few, by the way, that are leading to the same frame. It doesn't matter that if, let's say, I used this one to lead to this frame, then I can choose other elements on this page that will also lead to this screen. It doesn't mean that I have to choose just one of them. Okay, I can choose any element to interact to any frame that I want or need. Of course, whatever is accurate to your designs and whatever your needs are. So let's see how we do it. Up until now, when you do wireframing designs, etc., you are working on the design tab, and now we are going to click on the prototype. So after we clicked on the prototype tab, we are actually in a prototype mode. So now we can interact with elements from one screen to another screen that we have here, and we have a sample of, let's say, as I mentioned, two screens. One of them is kind of like the home page, another one is, let's say, some screen that opens from another element that I'm interacting with. So let's say I'm clicking on this one, I double click again and I choose this image. I can, by the way, as I mentioned, choose any one of the elements here. So I'm choosing this image, and I will drag an arrow. As you say that now, when I'm in prototype mode, I have this one indicating this circle here, and on hover it becomes a plus, which indicates that I can drag an interaction from it. Okay, if I will go back to the design mode, you will not see it. Only on prototype mode, you can see the elements that you can drag a interaction arrow, or actually create an interaction from, more right to say it like that. So I'm dragging an arrow, just I click and drag. Okay, I'm dragging this arrow to anywhere that I want. You will see also that it can be dragged into elements on the same screen. This is another interaction that I will show a bit later. So now I'm just dragging this arrow to here and let it stick to the next frame that I want to interact with. And now I have this window that opens the moment I create, or the second actually that I created this interaction. So this window pops up. Let me make my UI maybe a bit bigger. I think it will be kind of more comfortable to see. It does make it a bit bigger. It makes it a bit bigger, which is good. I think it's easier to see it that way. Okay, so what do we actually see here? We have on click navigate to nature 1, which this is how this frame is called, nature 1. That's good. The animation now is on instant. I will leave it instant for now just to see how the interaction happens. And if I want to go back to this page from this page, because when I will hit this image, it will lead me to this page. Then I can just, let's say that this will be my home. You know what? Let's call it home. Okay, and here as well. Let's call it home. Okay, so I am selecting the home text. A text is, of course, we can create a link from a text. It doesn't really matter. So I can drag an arrow and just let it stick to this frame. See, it connects with this frame. Again, when I take this arrow, it hints me with this blue line around the frame. See here, the blue line around the frame. This is a frame that I can interact with. I leave it, meaning I release my click, my mouse click, and then I'm getting this window again, which tells me that on click, I'm going to navigate to the home page, this one. I'll leave it on instance for now, and let's see how it happens. When I, by the way, deselect this one, then I see both of the interactions here. So let's see how it goes. I'll just hit on the click, on the flow, sorry, a play of the flow. And by the way, by hitting this play, it opens exactly this flow. As you can see, there can be a few flows on my screen. I will explain a bit about flows in another tutorial. I don't want to really like go into it right now, but I can have more than one flow in a file, and I can either click on display or I can click on display. Basically, it will do the same, but if I'm clicking on the play button from this flow, then it will open this flow. Okay, and I can kind of see all my flows here if I want to or not. And I don't have to. So let's stay with flow 2, which is our website for right now. And I'm gonna adjust it with scale down to fit with, okay, because I am not on 100% view size or view, yeah, I can call it kind of size. Then with scale down to fit with, you will see that now my screen is bigger than what it should be. Okay, if I will scroll down a bit, you will see that it's kind of doing something weird like that. Okay, it's doing that because right now my view doesn't, or let's say because it's more than 100%, it doesn't fit perfectly my view width. I can easily change it here with scale down to fit width. And now I don't have this kind of weird, side interaction or let's say side scroll kind of not exactly what we want. Anyway, so you will see that if I click on any place on my screen, I can see a hint to where the interaction, the element that I create in the interaction with, actually my button, where is it? So I'm clicking here. It tells me, hey man, look, this is the clickable element. So I click on it and then it takes me to this page. Okay. Is it big? Yeah, no, it's okay. It takes me to this page. As you see, the interaction was pretty simple. It was instantly doing the interaction because we left it on instant. There wasn't any kind of like any movement on the screen, fade out or anything like that, or fade in. Depends from which side you're looking at it, something like that. And when I'm clicking on the home again, by the way, you will see that that can be a bit annoying. Sometimes I want to click the home, but it kind of like I can almost reach it, but it kind of like hardly gives it to me. Or maybe if it wasn't, if it was a bit up, then I couldn't even reach it. So here, by the way, in these cases, you can just uh, deselect show Figma UI, okay? And when you do that, it's not going to bother you anymore. You can hit the control or the command slash, but the slash, which is near the upper slash, usually on a PC keyboard, on a Mac, I believe it's also like that. I don't know exactly. But anyway, press Control slash to show the Figma UI again. Okay, so just know, don't panic if it just kind of like disappears. You can always easily bring it back again. And I click on the home and you see I'm back home. So that's kind of like a simple interaction. And let's see different types of interactions now. So different types of interactions, how can I actually do that? You see when I'm clicking again on this one, this window opens again, which I can reconfigure the way that I want this interaction actually to happen. Okay, so on click, navigate to nature one, which is this frame. Sounds good to me. And here I can choose different types of interactions. As I said, the default one is instant. As you have seen, it works. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. There is no any effect when doing or creating this. When the transition is actually happening, there is no effect to it. So now if I click this drop down, I can select, let's say, dissolve. When I select dissolve or any other interaction beside instant, you will see that now here I have a duration time, meaning it asks me how much time you actually want this interaction to happen. So now 300 milliseconds is 0.3 second, meaning that this is a third of a second. 300 milliseconds. Okay, if I want, let's say, half a second, I will click on, or let's do it a second for now, just to see the fade away kind of happening. Dissolve, by the way, I didn't mention it. Dissolve is kind of like a fade in. Okay, that's a fade in effect. 1,000 milliseconds is a second. And when I hover or put my mouse here, it gives me a preview of what is actually going to happen on the screen, meaning how this interaction is going to happen. Let's add this fade away also to here. Dissolve, let's give it a 1,000 milliseconds, and let's see what happens now on the screen. So I click here, and you see now it's uh, the fade out or fade in, depends how you want to look at it, from which side you want to look at it, because it fades out from here, okay, and fades into the other page. So, it's a kind of like a fade in, fade out effect. And I left it on a second, which is a bit long, but just to see exactly how it happens. Of course, real time, I would go something more like, I guess, something like 400 milliseconds, or anything any way that in your designs seems right to you. So again, that's a 400 milliseconds, and that's a 400 milliseconds, okay, which is 0.4 seconds. Okay, good. Up until now, looks pretty straightforward and simple. Other types of interactions that we do have, and by the way, I'm showing it now specifically on a desktop page, but on mobile page, it happens exactly the same. On a mobile, let's say on a frame which is in a mobile screen size. As I said, it doesn't matter in any screen, desktop, mobile, smartwatch, tablet, any, I don't know, smart appliance which has a screen that the user interacts with, it doesn't matter. Any type of screen. Okay. Now, let's see other type of transitions. Uh, no, Smart Animate I'm going to show at the end. Let's choose now Move In. So Move In, you see that when I click this one, by the way, it can be even, let's say, the text, okay, or all of them together. So let's say I drag another arrow from the text, and let's say we'll choose Move In. I want to do it from, let's say it will come, no, you know what, let's do it like that. Move in, so this page actually is going to come from the right side to the left. This is exactly the interaction which is going to happen right now. Let's give it, yeah, let's leave it on 400 milliseconds, and we will see exactly what happens. And I will click on this one, and I will select also move in, and I will do it on the other side, okay, on the opposite actually direction. And let's see now what happens. Oh, so that's kind of yeah, it's kind of fast, but of course, listen, one thing I want to point out, I'm just showing technically how it happens on the screen, but the right transition actually, or the right animation slash transition between screens, any screen, the winning combination, I would say, is choosing the right type of transition and the right duration for it. So that needs to be kind of like a combination, again, transition type and duration. I'm just pointing it out. Of course, that some of the interactions that I will show here are not really suitable to this situation, but it's just to technically show how it happens on the screen. Okay? I mean, I wouldn't choose for a website this type of interaction. Let's say when I click here, it goes like that. I think it's pretty annoying or very annoying. Okay, but I'm just again technically showing what happens when I do choose this type of interaction. Okay, the other thing that we have, of course, which will look terrible on this kind of screen is this one, which will come from top, and let's say this one that will come from here. Oh my God, it's going to be terrible. But anyway, just to see technically how it happens. So let's select this text. Oh, and then we're going to select this one, and it's like that. And it's, of course, you see. But anyway, the important thing to understand is that it happens exactly as it shows. It's pretty straightforward, move in either from right to left, from left to right, from top to bottom, meaning up to down or down to up. Okay, so that's exactly how it happens. There, it's pretty straightforward, and I don't think there's a lot of explaining that needs to be done here. The other one that we have is move out. Move out happens exactly the same way, but on the opposite direction. Instead of moving in, it moves out. So let's say if I choose this, I select this image, and then I'm going to have a move out. So it's going to be like that. So the screen is just going to move out and kind of reveal the other screen underneath it, below it. Okay. The same thing will happen here. Let's choose a move out. Of course, I will do something like that. Okay, so let's see now what happens. You see, so it just moves out, and here, same thing, it moves out. Of course, on these big screens, it looks a bit quick, so I will give it, or quicker than it should be, I guess. Let's say 600 milliseconds, and here I will choose 600 milliseconds. And now it's going to happen a bit slower, which is kind of like better. But again, as I said, it's totally not suitable for this type of screen, but just to show you how it happens. We will soon go to these mobile screens. I will show some more options. What else? We have the push, okay? The push, actually, what it does technically, it's pushing the screens like that, meaning when I click the button, it pushes the other screen either to the left, to the right, up, or down. It does exactly the same. Instead of moving on it or moving from it, it pushes it to the sides. Okay, so that's what it does. Let's see how it happens. I'm doing it on the same element just to show exactly what happens. So you see, this is how it happens. It just pushes the other screen to the side. On a, yeah, you know what, that's okay. And we also have the slides. And the slide, by the way, the slide in and slide out, it's a bit of kind of like a software, sorry, a softer, not a software, a softer interaction, because it moves on or out from or into the or onto the screen, which we see on the screen, on our screens. Another type of interaction that we have, which is, I like it by the way, in some situations, it's a bit soft. It's a bit no, it's a bit softer than the move-ins and the pushes. I guess all the move-ins, move in, move out, pushing, and so on. So I think that this one, by the way, the slide in, the slides, okay, slide in and slide out. What this interaction does actually is that it comes like on top of the other screen that you clicked from, and it darkens the screen below it, and the other screen kind of moves out a bit with it. So it creates kind of like a mini, no, not a mini, but kind of a parallax effect, which you see two elements kind of moving together in different speeds. So I guess it's kind of nice, and it does a nice work. If you can see it here, kind of like it previews a bit what it's going to do. And again, I'm going to choose. Oh, this is now in a slide in. So let's see exactly how it happens or what it does on the screen. Maybe I'm going to have to increase, or let's say maybe do it a bit slower. Let's see. Yeah, so now here, I guess we can see, we're gonna see it better on a mobile screen, I guess. But if I will make this interaction actually slower, let's give it a second. I know it's too much. Basically, it's kind of a long interaction, which not sure we will use on a real website. Maybe depends on the situation. But anyway, so when you see it here, you see it happens kind of softer, it's nicer, and a lot of these interactions are going to look a bit different when we're going to do it on a mobile screen. Okay, before I'm going into mobile screens and the slide out again, the slide out is exactly actually the same, but instead of sliding in, it slides out, so it does something like that. Let's see it happening for a minute. Okay, so slide out. Sorry, it goes like that. Nice. Okay, you see that it happens kind of like softer, nicer, and it has kind of like a nice movement to it. See? Pretty cool. Okay, so the slide out happens in a pretty cool way. In a normal website or a regular website, I would expect this, for example, the header to stay sticky in the same place. But you know, here in this type of interaction, so it happens in another way, and then we can move into smart animation and see how it happens. Okay, so we went over the move in, dissolve, move out, push, slide in, and slide out. And the actually the most interesting interaction of all, again, depends on your need at a specific case, is the smart animate. Okay, in smart animate, we can create kind of like very cool interactions with, let's say, elements doing stuff between two frames. And then I guess that we can do kind of like real animation between screens. And I will show it now. I'm just seeing. Oh, there's another thing I want to point out, or actually two things. Um, when I interact here, for example, let's say that I want to interact between this screen to this screen. Of course, I didn't mention it, but if I would have, let's say, other screens here, let's kind of, you know what, quickly do something like that. Okay, let's say that I would have here, yeah. Let's say that this would be, I would call it screen 3. Okay, that would be screen 3. And let's say that we would have another screen 4. Okay, so of course that if my navigation bar was, let's say, um, here, from this one, I can always drag an interaction to screen 3. Okay, let's do it in a dissolve for now. Screen 3, give it a 400 milliseconds, and that's okay. Let's even give the screen a color. Yeah, just to be able to see that, to see the difference between them. Let's give this one also a color like that. Okay, so, and I will select this one and interact to screen 4. Here, it interacts with screen 4. So of course I can interact with all of them. And here, by the way, yeah, of course it's better to work with a component here. But anyway, I would do the first one to this screen and the second one to here and the fourth one to here. So you know you have to kind of like make sure that from any screen you can get to any screen. And here also I can do it pretty quickly. I will connect it to here, and this one will be to the second screen, and the third one is going to be to the third screen. So now actually I have the navigation to screen 3, screen 4, screen 3, home page, and you see from any screen actually I have to do this one also to the second screen. Okay, and from here I have it, and now I can get to this screen. I didn't do the fifth one, but anyway, I'm making sure that from any screen I can go to any screen. Okay, and besides the fifth one. So we have the home, we have screen 2, screen 3, getting back to screen 2, going to screen 4. And you see, I'm just making sure I can reach to any one of them by a click, because this is my main navigation bar. Okay, so that was kind of like to show it how you quickly just move between screens. Of course, you decide which interaction is right for the for any screen. I mean, depends on what you're gonna see there and stuff like that. Okay, another thing that I want to point out actually is when I want to click, let's say on this element, the one that we worked before with, and I want to stay when it moves to this frame, I want to stay in the same area. One second, let me go like this. Okay, and I want to stay in the same scrolling area. Okay, meaning when I click on this one, I want to stay. I'll do it like that. It will be more understandable, I guess. Okay, so let's say that I want to click. No, what's going on? What's happening here? Okay, so let's say again, I click on this element and I don't want to that it will bring me to the head of this page, but I want to stay in the same scrolling area, in the same Y positioned area. Let's put it like that. Okay, so, or let's do it, you know what? Let's do it from this one. Okay, so let's say I'm selecting this element, or choosing that when I click on it, okay, uh, I'm telling Figma preserve scroll position. Doesn't matter now which type of interaction we are using, except Smart Animate. Smart Animate, you don't have to do that because this is the natural behavior of Smart Animation, which I will show in a bit. But let's say I'm in dissolve, move in, push, slide, and so on. So I'm clicking here, preserve scroll position. Okay, when I preserve scroll position, you will see now I will stay in the same scrolling area. And let's say that from this image, or let even, yeah, you know what, let's from this title, let's say bring it back to here. So I'm going to do the same, preserve scroll position. So if you will see now, when I click on this image, you see that we stay in the same scroll position. And when I click on the title, we are back in the same Y position that we were before. Okay, this is when preserve scroll position. So that's exactly what it does. Let's say for some reason we want to create an interaction that will do, I will show you now something a bit different. But so that's preserve scroll position. You will see that the noodles are starting to pile up on our screen. That's what happens when you do kind of like a lot of interaction. So that's the way it starts to look. Okay. Now, Smart Animate. Let's do what Smart Animate does. And I want to show it actually here. You know what? Let's show something. Or let's start with these quiz and then get back to the other one. So um, I have here, I did kind of like screens that show big images from this gallery. I just did four, which is, I think, good enough to understand. But let's see how we create nice, smart interaction. You know what? Let me explain Smart Animate in kind of a let's say easy way to understand it. Okay, I think it will be easier to understand it that way. This is even when I'm teaching, I'm explaining it like that, and I think it's an easier way to understand it. So I selected this screen. I'm just going to show it on the mobile screens because it's easier to understand it that way. It's easier to understand it, and I think, yeah, because desktop screens are kind of big and it's difficult to see both of them in the same viewport. I mean, we can, but it's going to be kind of like very small. But again, as I said, it doesn't matter. Either mobile or desktop, it's exactly the same logic. Okay, so let's say that I have here this rectangle and I'm going to do another button here, just kind of like in a very simple schematic way. I'm duplicating the screen and I'm going to make this rectangle bigger like that. So I'm going to connect with this. I'm going to do the interaction with this button, prototype. Okay, I'm doing this in prototype mode and just dragging an arrow to here. Here I will select Smart Animate. I will do it for now, let's say like half a second, just to see it kind of happening on the screen. And from this one, I'm going to choose, yeah, Smart Animate and 500 milliseconds. On click, that's okay. So you will see now, let me just hit the play. Okay, close this one. So now you see that when I click on this button, now you're seeing already an animation between the screens, okay? It's not just kind of like a transition with slides or push or move in, move out. I'm creating an actual animation between these screens. Now, the very important thing to understand with smart animation in order for it to work, it needs to happen on the same element, which is in the same, let's say, layer hierarchy and layer names. Meaning, let me kind of like explain it better. This rectangle is rectangle 22. Okay, let's call it image. Let's call it an image. This one, rectangle 22, I mean, basically they are the same name of elements, okay? Let's call it also image. And you know what? Doesn't matter right now. Let's leave this one also rectangle 22. Now, you see that when I'm putting my mouse hovering on this rectangle, it shows me immediately this rectangle on the other screen. It means that these elements are going to interact, kind of like show the interaction between themselves on the screen. I mean, this is the pair of this element. Now, let's say that I will take this rectangle, I don't know, and frame it or group it, for example. I'm hitting the Control G, or just let's do group selection, frame selection. Let's frame it. Okay, frame selection. Now it's frame 18. You will see now that it will not work. It will do kind of like the default animation, fade in or fade out between these screens, and it's not going to show the animation. Why? Because now this rectangle is in a frame 18 and here it's a rectangle 22, meaning I kind of like detached it from making this connection between them. Okay, if I will frame this one as well, frame selection. Now notice it's a frame 19. Here again, it's not going to work. Okay, if I will rename this frame to frame 18, now I have this situation. I have a frame 18, inside it has a rectangle 22. Here also I have a frame 18, and inside there is a rectangle 22. So it's the same hierarchy and the same layer names. So now of course it will work. Okay, so that's a kind of like the basic logic understanding of smart animation. Okay, to anything you will do animating a animation with. So this is something that you must remember and be aware of it. If you're trying to smart animate between layers or between frames actually, and it doesn't work properly, this is the first thing that I will check: names. Okay, and again, just doing something like this. I'm adding another shape to it, a shape that I added into this frame. I will copy it, put it here, and here I'm going to make sure it's in frame 18 as well. Okay, and I will take it here, for example, just make it a bit bigger and make it a round rectangle. It's not a circle. It's not a circle. It's not an ellipse. It's a round rectangle. Okay, so now you will see this animation. You see? So it connects actually, refer to it like this is kind of a keyframe, okay, that takes the position, opacity, size of different elements on the screen, and when I hit any element that is connected with a smart animate interaction to another frame, it makes the changes between these elements. Here it's a small square, and here the square went bigger and with round edges. Okay, so it knows how to make the animation between this and this. This is the kind of like basic, let's say, logic of smart animation. Okay, um, okay. So that's kind of like, again, smart animation. It's a very, you can do a lot of really cool stuff with smart animation. And there are different types of triggers. By the way, I'm going to make a different tutorial about triggers. But now to show another thing that we can easily do with smart animation, I will duplicate this frame, and I'm giving here the first image with kind of a hint that you can actually drag it and make it bigger. Okay, I'm going to design it. I'm going to make the design of it before I'm actually connecting it, or I can do it after. It doesn't really matter, but let's work like that. And I'm just making this one bigger. Okay, and what I'll do now is I will select this kind of like draggable element, go into prototype, connect it to this screen, and here I will leave it on Smart Animate, which is okay, and I will select on drag. By the way, the duration here, I will explain it. The drag, when we're doing drag interaction, so actually it happens in the speed of I mean, we control the speed by dragging the mouse, or if we're seeing it on a mobile, dragging with our finger. As long as we make the drag action, this is how long the interaction will happen. So ask yourself, why do I have here the duration? Why does it matter? The duration is when we do kind of like less than 50% of the interaction, and leave it, okay, and just leave the click or the drag interaction that we are actually doing, releasing our mouse, let's put it like that, then it will go back to the start of it. And this is when the duration comes to the picture. And the same thing if we are doing more than 50% of the drag interaction and release our mouse, it will go all the way to the end and make it in this duration. I will show it now. So we have this in drag, and yeah, and we have this also on drag. And let's, by the way, we can show it on a mobile screen. I forgot to mention it if you're aware of it or not, but you have to change it between, if you have on the same file desktop screens and mobile screens, then you have to kind of like switch and decide how you want to see it. See now that I can click on show prototype settings, and here the device for now is none. It means that I'm just seeing a raw screen here, and I can choose or select a device, let's say 375 by 812. Actually, the height doesn't matter that much. What matters is the width. The height does matter, that if we work on a shorter frame than what we selected here, then it's going to show a black space. Okay, so now we have it on a mobile screen. So we have it like on a mobile mockup. Notice here, by the way, and that's another thing I will point out, that now if I will want to select on click, we don't have an on click, we have an on tap. On tap, it kind of switches to on tap because we selected, or we kind of informed actually Figma that we are now doing a mobile screen. That's why it gives the option of not on click, but on tap. Okay, so that's why if you will see it and wonder why in one time it shows on tap and another time it shows on click, so that's the reason for it. And of course I have it here also. I will choose on drag as well, and I'm using Smart Animate, and if I will try to drag it now, you will see that I can just drag this element and make it bigger, this image, and I can drag it back. So I'm actually animating between these two screens. Of course, to the user or to the one who sees it, it's kind of transparent. I mean, he doesn't see that it moves from one page to another. You are actually showing kind of a drag interaction with it. Now I will show, if I will start dragging it and leave it, you see it goes back. And if I will go more than 50% of the drag interaction, second, I didn't go over, and I leave it, it's going to go all the way to the end, meaning like release my mouse, and then it goes all the way to the end. Okay, now so let's kind of do a quick interaction between these screens. This tutorial is already going quite long, so I want to start and kind of like go ahead and show the last part of the tutorial. There is another interaction, scroll to. In order for not to make this tutorial too long or longer than it is, I will show it in another tutorial. So I guess that I will show the last part of it. So again, let's kind of like sum up what we have learned in this tutorial. I'm going to show it in these mobile screens. So I have here kind of a gallery and these four screens, which I can see images from the gallery on a kind of like full screen view, something like that. So I have this image. When I'm tapping on it, it's more right to say on a mobile, when tapping on it, not clicking on it, which technically it is. That's what we're doing on the screen. or unless we see it on our mobile device. So I'm tapping on this image, it brings me to this screen, and now let me see how the interaction is. Okay, not Smart Animate, let's go with, I guess, Dissolve will work here. Yeah, dissolve. Okay, let's do a dissolve. 400 milliseconds. That's okay. Let's make it simple for now. And this navigation bar. Actually, I mean, to be super accurate, if this is the beginning of the navigation, so here this one shouldn't appear. It doesn't matter right now. Let's just focus on the interactions and not of how accurate actually the design is. So I just kind of like copied and pasted from one page to another. Doesn't matter right now. If this is your first image in the gallery, then this one shouldn't appear. But on, you know what? Let's see the interaction of it. I mean, here I can make it just uh, on opacity 0. Okay, pass through 0 opacity. And from this one, let's do kind of a push interaction. Push and then, okay. So that is a push interaction. I will select here push and I will do this. Let's say this screen will push this one from right to left, which I think is good. 400 milliseconds. Yeah, I think it's okay. We will see it. Let's give it kind of like a test drive and see how it goes. Okay, so that's okay. And that's not happening. Let's see why not. Okay, so that's on tap, push. Basically, it should happen. I don't really understand why. Let's give it a restart. And oh, what's going on here? Wait, let me see. This is, but this I made on 0 opacity and it still shows it. So that's weird. Let's give it a play again. Maybe it kind of like didn't refresh or something like that because that is weird. Mm, okay, so now let's leave that. Okay, now it looks, yeah, I saw that something just doesn't add up here. And this is the push. Yeah, I guess that's okay. Um, so that's okay. Even we can make it even if you want to make it softer a bit, then you can just add, let's say, another 100 milliseconds to it. Let's make it like 500 or even 600 if you want to kind of like make it softer. This interaction. So this one, and then you see, it happens kind of like in a softer way, which I think is good. And we can connect this one here quickly. So we have a push 600 milliseconds, and that's okay. Let's see the direction, which is not good. You see, now this is a good example to see that it looks weird. I mean, the user expected this one comes from the right to left, which is good. But if I leave this one from right to left, then it looks weird. Okay, the user expects it actually to happen exactly in the opposite direction. So let's here change it from uh, uh, let's say left to right. So this is like that, and that happens like that, and now it looks normal. Okay, so we can create easily a push before a push like between a screen to a screen, and that is good. Now, this will be a push that will come from right to left, and this one exactly the opposite. Let's see that it works okay. That is good, and that is good. Great. And the same way. You know what? The same goes here, and the same goes to here, but I will change the way. One second. Um, this should be like that. Okay, so now we have it like this and like this, and it goes all the way back, which happens as we want it to happen. Now, normally we would want maybe this navigation bar to stay kind of like in a fixed position, but we will have to do it in another way because interacting between screens and not working with Smart Animate gives us less the option actually to do it. Okay, working with Smart Animation, we have to kind of plan the way that things are placed on our screens a bit better and be more aware of it. So let's say just this will be the last part. I will note that. Yeah, let's kind of like copy these screens and prepare for Smart Animate. Okay, Smart Animate, it needs to happen. I'm gonna, let's say, you know what? Let's leave it like that for now. That's okay. And let's go back to the design. And I'm gonna do something like that. Let me show you how I do these screens. Yeah, just kind of like for 1 second running it in my head and I'm doing it something like that. Okay, so I'm gonna right now kind of cancel the clip content on a frame that I can see what happens outside of it. And I'm just thinking for a sec how to do it. You know what? Yeah, I'll do something like that. Um, yeah. Let me select this element. I'm just kind of like, again, planning it in my head. So this one, just to make it easier, I'm gonna kind of, yeah, do it like that. And I will make the screen smaller as we, uh, yeah. Now I want to show kind of like the whole procedure, how exactly I do it, because I think it will be more, it will be easier to understand. This is gallery screen 5, so we need to work with screen 5. Let's see where it is. Gallery screen 5, and this one is image 1. Oh, okay, image 2. And where is it? Yeah, this one. Okay, so this one. Okay, now it's okay, and we will put this one here, and this one we will put here. I will put it here, just showing you quickly what I'm doing. So this is gonna be this one, and they need to be actually, I think, inside masks, but anyway, mask or clipped frames. Let's see exactly how it goes. You know what? Yeah, I have another better way to do it. I will do it actually practically like that. Yeah, sometimes we kind of like work like not very smart, and I'm gonna make it kind of easier and better to understand. Okay, so yeah, I kind of like figure it out in my head now that this is for me the better way of doing it. I will just select all these and just put them here. And now what I'm gonna do is actually this one, yeah, for me it's okay. I can leave it like that. They're on top of it, so they can go actually here, one beside another, and that is perfect. Okay, yes, let's do it like that. I'm not going to go into parallax animations and stuff like that. I will do it in another tutorial, but I think that this one should give a good kind of like a good example of just smart animating, for example. Okay, and what it does exactly. um, and I'm gonna take, no, you know what, I'll leave this one like that. Okay, so I have all these frames actually with all these images here. I'm gonna make this frame shorter to its original width, and I'm gonna hit the clip content. So again, what we have is actually we have this screen, and in this screen, in this frame actually, when I deselect the clip content, we see that all these frames are actually here. Okay, and then in the let's say, let's call it just gallery screen, and the gallery screen actually takes all these inside it. Now I'm going to duplicate this screen. Yeah, leave it like that, it doesn't matter. Let's call it like gallery screen 1, and this one I'm going to call just for working a bit more. um, Yeah, okay. So gallery screen 2, and in this screen actually, I'm gonna open it. Okay, I'm selecting all the images that we have inside it. Let me put the nav bar on top. In all of them, it will just be easier. I want to arrange my layers in an easier way, and that's okay. That's the image 1. And these are all the rest of the gallery images. Okay, so I'm selecting all the gallery images that we have, and I'm doing something like that. It went out of my frame, it doesn't matter, I will just drag it back, put it here. Okay, and now I have this screen that actually I kind of scrolled it all the way here. Okay, now I will duplicate this one, and I will do exactly the same thing. I'm gonna select these images, and I'm gonna do another one like this. Drag it back inside and have this screen ready. By the way, I do see here, yeah, there's kind of like a pixel back that it needs to go to. Yeah, now it's precise. I'm gonna take another one, and on the last one I will do something like that. Okay, drag it back again, and we have the screen. Let's see, we worked precise. Yes, now it's okay. Now if I want to create a drag animation, by the way, can also a change here. So I'm gonna do this one 100 and this one 50, and I'm gonna do this one 100 and this one also 50, and I'm going to do this one 100 and this one 50. Okay, second, yeah. Now it's good. So let's put them a bit closer to each other. Good. So now I can actually smart animate the interaction between these screens, and I can leave this one, by the way, on the screen all the time, and it will kind of stay put. And let's kind of see exactly how it happens. So I can also choose this element connected to this frame. On tap, I'm going to do it on drag, smart animate, and that's okay. Even leave it on 600, it doesn't matter. I'm going to do here exactly the same. Smart animate, on drag. Okay, so on drag, actually it goes here and it needs to go also here. And even this one on drag, it needs to go back to here. And on drag, yeah, I guess that's okay. Let's see exactly what happens now. Okay, so we are here and you see we can drag it. Okay, we can drag it and you see that this navigation bar stays, and if you will see, 1 second, I didn't do the interaction, I think here. Let me see exactly, sorry, what happened here. So on drag, smart animate, on drag, smart animate. Basically, it should work. Why doesn't it work? Let me see. Maybe we need to refresh it again. Let me see. Let me just hit the play again. Mm-mm. Okay, so that opens the images and that goes to here, and that still doesn't go. Why? Let me understand. Let's check what is the problem. Oh, it's on tap. Now I see. You see, I forgot to put it on drag. So now it should work. Okay, good. So now you see, even you see kind of like the background image animates a bit behind it because it's bigger, not like in the rest of them. And you see also that these indicators of which image we are on, they also animate. And let's say why the last one, let's see why the last one doesn't work, because I think that I just didn't connect it. So yeah, basically makes sense that it doesn't work. Okay, so now it should, or on drag, smart animate, etc. And let's give it a start. Still doesn't work, which I don't really understand why. Okay, on drag seems okay. I will hit the play again and refresh it. I don't know why is it doing it. It should be refreshed kind of like on the spot, but as we see, it doesn't always do it properly. Yeah, so now it's okay. And this one also, anyway, it needs to be fixed. I guess I didn't kind of like connect it properly. And this is, mm, yeah, this should be on drag as well. So, okay, on drag and it goes all the way back. Great. I can show actually a lot of more cool ways of interacting with these screens, but I guess that this tutorial is already longer than I thought. Then I think that for now, I will kind of end it here. Just show one last thing before I end this tutorial, and I'm gonna go in tutorial number 2 maybe or 3 to show other interactions, very cool interactions with it. Um, so now if we're talking about Smart Animate, you see that when I tap on this image, it just kind of like fades into the screen. Of course, if I want to, this is rectangle 10, and here we have image 1, and inside of it we have a rectangle 10. So I'm going to frame it. I'm going to right click it and frame selection, and here we have an image 1. I'm going to call this frame also image 1. Okay, I'm going to give it the same name. Yeah, it is the same name. So now you will see that I'll move it to Smart Animate, and now you will see that when I hit this image, you see it kind of grows into the page. It grows, it's not exactly accurate, because if you will notice, you know what, let's do the back button actually to bring it back here, which will be kind of make sense. Okay, so you see, it doesn't happen kind of like in a very, and it's slow and it's okay, but it doesn't happen exactly accurate, because we're having here, I have one image, and here I have it also as another background image. So this frame doesn't contain exactly what this frame contains. That's why you see this kind of, anyway, it's kind of too long, I guess, but you see this kind of like kind a bit weird of thing happening between these two screens, but of course it can be fixed easily, creating the same images on both of them. But I just wanted to show you how it comes like that. And of course we have the great drag interaction between all of these. Hit the back button, which bring us back here, and that's good. Okay, by the way, okay, never mind. It doesn't matter. I think it's just for the showing the logic of the interactions and animations. I think it's pretty great. As I said, scroll to I will do in another tutorial. The story is way longer than I was thinking it will be. But anyway, there's a lot to show. Prototyping really, it's a whole world in Figma, and I think that for now this will be it. I hope that this tutorial was helpful, especially for someone who's kind of like just starting with prototyping in Figma and understanding, going into this world of prototyping. Uh, Comments, questions, feel free to ask me anything you want, and I will explain and demonstrate. I would be very happy if you can hit the subscribe button, and of course, likes, comments, and subscribes will be very much appreciated. Thank you so much, and see you in the next tutorial or prototyping tutorial that I will continue with. Thanks a lot, guys.